Om Namo Narayanaya. Welcome back to the Narada Parivrajaka Upanishad. Today we are finishing up section 4, or I should say the second half of section 4, starting with verse 37. And for those curious, there is 39 verses? Oh, but one verse is like a page and a half long. Okay, so there's only 3 verses, but this is going to take us a little bit. Here we go. So, part 4, verse 37. Then Narada asked a Brahmin, "Please expound to us the method of renunciation." Brahma, agreeing to this, said, "For embracing the fourth stage of life, that being renunciation, whether one is in a state of emergency or in regular sequence, one shall perform the 8 commemorative religious ceremonies, after having first undergone the penance to expiate all sins. The 8 ceremonies being the propitiation of the gods, sages of yore, other divine beings, men, the 5 primary elements, manes, father, mother, and oneself. First he shall propitiate the group of deities named Satya, Vasu, etc. In the commemorative ceremony for the gods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. In the Shraddha ceremony for the sages, divine sages like Narada, royal sages like Chanaka, and men sages like Yajnavalkya. In the Shraddha for divine beings, the 8 Vasus, 11 Rudras, and 12 Adityas. In the Shraddha for men, Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanat Kumara, and Sanat Sujata, the son of the god Brahma. In the Shraddha for the elements, the 5 primary elements, the sensory organs such as the eye, and the 4 groups of living beings. In the Shraddha for the manes, father, paternal grandfather, and paternal great-grandfather. In the Shraddha for the female ancestors, mother, paternal grandmother, and paternal great-grandmother. In the Shraddha for oneself, father, and paternal grandfather. If his father is alive, leaving off the father, himself, paternal grandfather, and paternal great-grandfather. In all cases he shall honor the Brahmanas, arranging that 2 of them are present each time. Having honored the Brahmanas in the manner prescribed for the ceremony of the daily offerings to deceased ancestors, during the 8 Shraddhas performed in 8 days, or in a day with the mantras pertaining to his own branch of the Veda, following the option of a single ceremony, a day, or 8 ceremonies on the same day, having completed the rituals according to the rules till they are fed, having performed the offerings of rice balls to the manes, and bidding farewell to the Brahmanas, pleased with the presents and betel rolls, having saved 7 hairs for the success of the remaining ritual acts, the twice-born having had 7 or 8 hairs shaved together along with the remaining hairs and beard, and the nails cut for the success of the remaining ritual acts, bathing after the shave, in which hairs in the armpits and the pubic hairs are exempted, and preserving the above said 7 hairs, completing the evening twilight worship, muttering the Gayatri mantra 1,000 times, performing the daily teaching and study of the Vedas, getting ready his own ritual fire, completing the recital of his branch of the Veda, offering the oblation of ghee in the fire as stated in his Vedic branch till Agni and Soma have been propitiated, completing the act of offering oblations, ceremoniously eating the barley meal 3 times, invoking himself, keeping alive the fire after having ceremoniously sipped water, seating himself on a skin of the black antelope at the north of the fire, keeping awake, listening to the recital of Puranas, bathing at the end of the 4th watch of the night, boiling the oblation in that fire, offering the rice oblation 16 times, reciting the Purusha Shukta, performing the Viraja ritual so as to be free from all sins, sipping water ceremoniously, and gifting clothes, gold, vessel, and cow, along with a cash present, completing the preceding rituals, bidding farewell to the god Brahma, who had been invoked, invoking the fire to be symbolically present on his person, and reciting the following mantras. May the Maruts bring together the scattered vital energy. May Indra do so. May Brihaspati do so. May this fire do so, granting along with it long life, wealth, and strength. May he make me long lived. O Agni, come with your body which is fit for the sacrifice. You being myself, may you climb into my body, bringing before me great wealth suitable for men. Assuming the form of sacrifice, may you rest in my body, your source. O Agni, being born of the earth, may you come with your abode, meditating on fire, bidding farewell to him after having circumambulated and prostrated in reverence before him, worshipping the twilight, paying obeisance to the sun, reciting the Gayatri Mantra 1,000 times, seated in the waters which reach up to his navel, bidding farewell to Gayatri, having made respectful offerings to the 8 guardian deities of the quarters, mingling the Gayatri with the Bhuvas, Suvas, and reciting in a low, middling, or high tone, or mentally the mantras. I am the stimulator of the tree of the phenomenal world. Fame of my knowledge is lofty like the peak of a mountain, high and holy. I am the immortal being, as the immortal self in the sun. I am the wealth of the south endowed with effulgence. Possessing true knowledge, I am immersed in my immortal nature. Thus the words of self-realization based on the Veda of a realized soul. He who is the most exalted of the Vedas and omnipresent, and who has sprung from the ambrosial scripture, may that supreme Lord endow me with true intelligence. May I, O Lord, become the possessor of wisdom leading to immortality. My body very active in the higher life, my tongue possessed of sweetness to the highest degree. May I, with my ears, listen to the wealth of Vedantic learning. You are the sheath of Brahman, concealed by worldly intelligence, which I ask that you please rent asunder. Pray, protect my wisdom born of the study of scriptures. I am now risen above the desire for wife, desire for wealth, and the desire for worldly glory. Om Bhuh, I have renounced the world. Om Bhuva, I have renounced. Om Sava, I have renounced. Sipping water, ceremoniously reciting the following mantra. Freedom from fear to all beings. Everything emanates from memory. Sava. Offering water to the east with the palms fully folded and uprooting the 7 hairs, reciting Om Svaha, snapping the sacred thread, reciting the following. The sacred thread is highly sanctifying. It has been natural to the god Brahman in the first place, foremost in promoting long life. Put on thus, may the brightest sacred thread be the strength and effulgence unto me. Let not the sacred thread reside externally. May you, entering inside the middle of the heart, ever grant me the highly sanctifying fame, strength, wisdom, and dispassion, and true intelligence. Offering water with cupped palms, he shall offer the sacred thread as oblation to the water, reciting the mantra Om Bhuh, pray reach the sea, Savaha. Repeating thrice, Om Bhuh, I have renounced, Om Bhava, I have renounced, Om Sava, I have renounced. He shall ceremoniously sip water and discard in the waters his garment and waistband, reciting Om Bhuh Sava. Reminding himself that he had ceased from all worldly activities, and becoming unclad, he shall start for the north with his hand raised and thinking of himself. If, as stated before, he is an enlightened recluse, he shall receive instruction from his guru on the pranava and the great scriptural texts, journeying as a mendicant monk in easy stages, convinced that no one exists other than himself, subsisting on fruits, edible leaves, and water, and thus move about on hills, forests, and temples. Then unclad, giving up journeying all over the earth, his heart solely filled with the experience of bliss always, profited by the complete severance of worldly activities, sustaining life by means of fruits, juicy barks, leaves, bulbous roots, and water, only for attaining liberation, he shall discard his body in some mountain cave, remembering the emancipating mantra Om. If he is a recluse, desiring further study, he shall proceed along with learned brahmanas like his preceptor, and receiving a staff, waistband, loincloth, garment, and water vessel offered by his preceptors, reciting, Pray wait, wait, blessed one, take the staff, ochre garment, and water vessel. He shall go to the spiritual guide's presence to receive instruction in the pranava and the great spiritual texts. He shall then receive the emblematic bamboo staff, which is free from cuts from the tip of the top, evenly shaped, smooth, free from the black color, and also auspicious looking, having first sipped water ceremoniously, and repeating the mantra, "You are my friend, protect my strength. You, my friend, are Indra's weapon Vajra, the destroyer of the demon Vritra. May you bring protection to me, prevent that which is a sin." He shall then receive the water vessel reciting the pranava first, and then the mantra, "You are the life of the world. You are the container of water. You who are always cool." Receiving the waistband, loincloth, and the ochre garment, reciting the mantra in due order, he shall say, "The waistband, the supporter of the loincloth, the cover for the privates, the loincloth, the garment, which is the protection against cold, wind, and heat, and invested with the cloth used for meditation, preceded by the ceremonial sipping of water, he shall zealously follow the rules of his stage of life, considering that he has fulfilled himself in the quest for liberation." And thus ends the fourth part of this. I had two sort of random thoughts while I was reading this. The last two verses, which actually start from, "If stated before he is an enlightened recluse, he shall receive instruction." So that starts 38 and 39. I'm reminded of when I spent 2 years as a Freemason. We had so many rituals that read like this. You will do this, and then you will say this, and then you will do this. And this just reminds me of that, this whole aspect of ritual. I haven't talked about my Freemasonry background much because I just let it go. I just didn't care. I just felt it was sort of gibberishy and do what you want and meaningless and just a bunch of guys patting each other on the back going, "Oh, look at us. We just donated to a charity. We're so good that we all voted to give $50 to a local charity. Aren't we doing such great things?" It was just, and then they're like taking a vow that says women can't learn this. I disagree with that. It wasn't this great spiritual uplifting that I thought it would be. It wasn't this great discovery. It was just sort of common sense stuff, actually aiming to the lowest common denominator. I found the rituals were often either gibberishy, useless, or just aiming for a very low mentality of kindergarten ethics. So I left. But this so reminds me of this. It's just ritual, 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 ritual. Now, the other thought I had is even more out there. The first part of this reminded me of Kaddish and Howl by Allen Ginsberg. I'm a beatnik at heart, and just reading some of this, "Om Bova, I have announced. Om Suva, I have renounced. Blah, 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 I have done this. Pray protect me, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "I am with you, Carl Solomon," whatever. It's just like, I have heard the best minds of your generation, and it's just this fascinating recitation. I was like, "Oh, this is so Allen Ginsbergish." It's really not. I don't know if he. Well, I doubt he ever read this Upanishad. I'm sure he read some things of Hinduism, but I doubt he read this. But certainly, it's that sense of ritual and just outpouring of ideas that's found in Judaism and Christianity and Buddhism and Islam and pretty much every religion is just a natural human way of expressing ourselves. But this particular one, for some reason, just brought up Allen Ginsberg. And I'm not actually an Allen Ginsberg fan. Just saying that he's okay. I take him in small doses because it gets rather repetitive. I think he was always trying to find this again and again and repeating how. Now, Jack Kerouac's a different story. I love me Jack Kerouac. And that leads us into a totally different place than this video. So with that, I'm just going to stop and say thank you for joining me in this long Upanishad